All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Counseling 601 Lifespan Development. My name is Dr. Alex Hodges, and I will be your instructor for this course. And so I'm really excited to spend the next several weeks exploring one of the most important foundations of the counseling profession, and that is human development across the lifespan. So as counselors, we work with people from every stage of life. Even if you're a school counselor, you're going to work with parents, and sometimes grandparents raise these children. So just depending on where you land, you're going to need to know about different stages of development to really understand your client and their context. So, um, in order to understand that, we got to understand how people grow, change, adapt, and develop over time, all that good stuff. So, because this is a summer course, it moves quickly. It's only 4 weeks. However, if you stay on schedule and keep up with the readings and assignments, you should do very well. So, let's take a few minutes and walk through the course and discuss what you can expect over the next 4 weeks. Okay, so that's me. I'm Dr. Hodges. I included Kerwin. If you're taking my other class, 602 Intro, I kind of explained that, but my maiden name is Kerwin. I was Dr. Kerwin for 10 years and then got married, had to change my name. So sometimes Kerwin is still floating out there somewhere. So if you see that, that's talking about me, but I do go by Dr. Hodges. It's not hyphenated, it's just Dr. Hodges. And I'm a LPCS, licensed professional counselor and supervisor. I'm a board certified telemental health provider, and I do have the national certified counseling credential as well. I'm an associate professor, and I am also the graduate program coordinator for the MED programs. And so you've probably already been in contact with me, getting admitted and trying to figure out registration and all that stuff. And I will also be doing orientation and helping you through all the milestones that you need to complete this program. So that is me in a nutshell. Um, and see, anything else I want to say about myself? Let's see, I've been at Ole Miss since 2014. I've been a counselor since 2008. I was sitting in your seat, 20 years ago. I started my master's program in 2006. So it's hard to believe that much time has passed. But I have experience working as a school-based clinical mental health professional. I was a contracted counselor into the schools, but I was really, employed by community mental health. So if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to talk to you about it. But anyway, if you have any questions at all, you can always reach out to me, email me. Love to connect with you. And of course, I'll see you in the fall. Um, but one of the things I enjoy most about teaching this course is helping students connect developmental theories to real people and real counseling situations. And throughout this semester, I encourage you to think beyond just memorizing theories, terminology, things like that. Instead, I want you to think about how developmental concepts can help you better understand future clients and their experiences. So, like I said, if any questions arise, just don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always happy to help. I do have a teaching assistant this summer. He's going to be helping with 601 and 602. So it's Cameron Douglas. He's a doctoral candidate, and which means he's got done everything but his dissertation. So he'll be here with us another year working on that dissertation. I think he's a licensed professional counselor. I know he's finished his hours. I think the last time I heard, he was just kind of getting all his paperwork in and waiting everything to go through. So we're just going to assume by now he's a licensed professional counselor. If he isn't, he will be soon. So he's got experience. He really enjoys working with school age, K through 12. He's worked with some of the mental health counselors on campus, that program that runs through our training clinic, COPE, which you'll learn about as you matriculate through the program. But he also worked at, I believe it was Mill Creek. It was an inpatient facility for children. So he's got lots of experience working with youth, and that's really his passion. So if you're interested in that, I would encourage you to connect with him. He is a graduate of this program. I think he's been out maybe 5 years, if not more. I think he was one of our COVID students. So online courses can sometimes feel isolating. So I just want you to know that there are multiple people available to support your success. And so if you get any communication from Cameron during the semester, just know that he is a very important part of this instructional team and he's here to help you. So that's Cameron. And his email address is in the syllabus. So if you need to reach out to him for any reason, feel free to do that. Okay. So, pillars of counseling. So, before we discuss the course itself, I just want to highlight several themes that serve as foundational pillars in the counseling profession. And you'll probably hear this other places in the program. So, the first is wellness. We are a wellness centered profession. So, unlike many medical models that focus primarily on what's wrong with the client, counselors emphasize what's right with the client. So, their strengths, their what's working for them, how do we what kind of prevention can we do? What healthy functioning, do they have going on that we can capitalize on and expand? Um, and then the next one, the second pillar is empowerment. So counseling is about helping people recognize their strengths, of course, and increase their self-awareness and make meaningful changes in their own lives. And so we're empowering them. The third pillar is multiculturalism and social justice. Human development does not occur in a vacuum. So people's experiences are shaped by culture, identity, family systems, socioeconomic status, privilege, oppression, and just social context in general. So you have a whole class on that and it'll be sprinkled throughout all your courses pretty much. So, and it brings us to that last pillar, developmental. So as counselors, we believe that people can grow, learn, heal, and change throughout their lives. I mean, if we didn't believe that, what are we doing, right? In many ways, this belief is what makes counseling possible. Okay, so course objectives. So this is very wordy and it's going to sound very academic, but we'll go over it. Three primary objectives. So first, you'll learn how to apply major theories of individual, family, and personality development across the lifespan. You'll also examine biological and neurological and physiological influences on behavior and wellness. Secondly, you'll analyze how social and cultural factors influence development. This includes factors such as public policy, social movements, poverty, inequity, inequality, and just access to resources. Third, you will evaluate models of resilience, wellness, and psychosocial adjustment that help individuals and families navigate illness, disability, adversity, and life transitions in general. So while these objectives sound very wordy and academic, like I said, they all point towards one larger goal, and that goal is to help develop a counseling lens for understanding human behavior and human experience. So we're just trying to help you start refining that lens. Okay, so these are your required texts. The primary textbook for this course is Counseling Individuals Through the Lifespan by Wong and Hall and Hernandez. This textbook will serve as the foundation for our course content. It's going to guide us through all the developmental stages from conception all the way through older adulthood. So, you also want to get that APA publication manual, the seventh edition. Um, you do have a paper for this course where you will have to cite your textbook when you refer to the concepts. So, this is going to show you how to do that, how to appropriately cite in APA style. And so you're definitely going to need it for the fall and you're going to need the APA manual for the rest of the program. So you might as well go ahead and get it. I know it's recommended for Counseling 602, but you need to go ahead and get it for 601 because you do have one paper that does need a citation and everything's got to be done in APA format anyway. So go ahead and get that to help you write your papers. And my recommendation as far as the books is you need to read the chapters before attempting the quizzes. If you go in trying to fly blind, you only get one attempt on the quizzes. So if you just read and kind of go, I provide slides as well that outline the chapters. If you review that before the quizzes, you'll perform much better, and you'll find the course much more manageable and you'll be able to absorb that information better. So, on to the required movie. One of the unique assignments in this course involves the movie The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. So, it's a pretty old movie. I think it came out maybe '09, I'm not sure. Um, but if you've never seen it, I think you'll find it entertaining and also thought-provoking. So the movie tells the story of a man who ages in reverse. It creates a fascinating kind of opportunity to examine human development, identity formation, relationships, transitions, and just meaning making from a developmental perspective. And so we'll use this film as sort of a case study. So this is our case study that you're going to write your book on, or you're going to write your paper on, and I'll talk about that paper assignment here in a little few more slides. But I just want you to know that you'll have to find a way to watch this, whether it's a DVD, a VHS, a Blu-ray, streaming, whatever you got to do. Okay, learning modules. Okay. So this course is organized into five learning modules, and we begin with the foundational theories, just kind of an overview of development, and then we move through the lifespan chronologically. So we look at everything from birth to death, in a human lifespan. And one of the strengths of this course is that it allows us to see how developmental themes emerge and evolve over time. And as counselors, we often meet clients at a single point in their lives, and we only have a snapshot of their lives, right? But the developmental theory helps us understand the larger story behind their experience. And so that's really why we start here. This is why it's one of your first classes. Okay. And so this is in your syllabus. So you can refer to your syllabus to find this. This is your course outline. It's just going to be your roadmap for the semester. Each module contains assigned readings, quizzes, discussions, and learning activities. And so you'll notice that all chapter quizzes are going to be open until July 24th. All your chapter quizzes are due July 24th. And while this provides flexibility, again, I don't want to micromanage your pacing of the course. I know stuff comes up and maybe you've got family stuff going on. It's summer. I don't know. But it provides flexibility, but I strongly encourage you to not wait until the final week to complete them because I do want you to absorb the information. So, um, don't put it off don't procrastinate. I'm a procrastinator, so that's why I know I need to say this because I know some of y'all are in this class too. All right, so the discussion boards follow a weekly schedule, and your Benjamin Button reflection is all, due on July 20th. And so that's just to give me some time to read your papers and get your grades in before the end of the course, because the last day of the course, I think, is the 24th or 25th. Um, so July 20th is when that's due. And so because this is a condensed summer course, you got to stay organized and work consistently. That's very important. And think of this course as a marathon rather than a sprint. I always say that. So small amounts of steady progress each week is going to lead to the best outcomes. All right. Okay. Assignments. So this is just an overview. You've kind of got four major sections of assignments. And so Um, your final grade is divided equally among these four components, and the chapter quizzes or your syllabus quiz is kind of lumped in with your chapter quizzes. I'll use a quiz total, like an average of all your quizzes, and that is going to be worth 25% of your grade. And then the Benjamin Button reflection is going to be 25%. And then your discussion participation is going to also be 25%. And then the final exam is going to be 25%. So, what this really means is that no single assignment is going to determine your success. So, students who consistently complete assignments throughout the semester generally just perform very well in this course. All right, so your syllabus quiz, you're going to see this in every class you take with me. It's one of the first assignments you should complete. This quiz has unlimited attempts, and I strongly encourage you to take it until you earn a perfect score. And the purpose of this quiz is to ensure that everyone understands the course expectations, all the assignments and deadlines, and the important policies. So completing the syllabus quiz early often prevents confusion later in the semester. That's why I have it due on June 29th. So the course starts June 25th, and then the 29th, you need to have the syllabus quiz in. So that's that Monday. Um, so it just prevents confusion later in the semester. That's why we do it early. Okay, chapter quizzes. Each chapter includes a corresponding quiz, and three quizzes are designed to reinforce. These quizzes are, okay, let me start over. These quizzes are designed to reinforce what you read and what you see on those PowerPoint outlines of the chapter. It's to, reinforce those important concepts and prepare you for the final exam. Quiz questions are multiple choice or true false, and the quizzes are open book, but you are going to do a lot better if you go ahead and just read over the material before you take the quizzes. They are open book though. And I think you have 2.5 hours to take each quiz, and each quiz is maybe 25 questions. So, you know, um, it's not meant to stress you out and trick you. Just as long as you read and review that material, you should be fine. Just think of these quizzes as learning tools rather than obstacles. And like I said, all your quizzes are due July 24th, but pace yourself. I would say you've got 5 modules to do in 4 weeks. So, however that looks for you, if you're doing 1 or 2 modules a week, that's what I would do. So, okay. That's your quizzes. All right, so movie reflection overview. The Benjamin Button reflection, that's one of the major assignments in this course. It asks you to move beyond memorization and start thinking like a counselor. So rather than just discussing developmental theories, you will apply them to the fictional characters and his life experiences. So Benjamin. The goal is to help you practice conceptualizing human development in a way that mirrors what counselors do every day. Okay, so we're going to go over the instructions in the next few slides. Here we go. So as you watch this film, pay attention to developmental milestones, life transitions, relationships, identity development, loss, resilience, adaptation, all those good things that characters go through in movies, but this is very like developmental. It follows him from when he's born to when he dies. And consider how social and cultural influences shape the character's experience. Most importantly, think about how a counselor might understand and respond to the challenges that he faces. And remember that I've seen this movie, so I don't need a plot summary. I know what goes on in the movie. I'm more interested in your analysis, your insights, and your ability to apply the course concepts to the movie. Okay, so these are the prompts, and this is all in your syllabus. But your paper is going to focus on four primary areas. So first, we're looking at developmental stages and transitions. So I just want to know, did you understand what you were watching? Are you able to pick out, some of those phases and transitions? Secondly, the application of the developmental theories. And then third, the cultural and social influences of that character. And then fourth, the implications from a counseling perspective. And so that's essentially what these prompts are trying to get at. Um, okay, and the strongest papers are usually those that thoughtfully connect developmental theory with practical counseling insights. So that's just like the goal of this paper. So kind of some basic requirements. Your reflections should be between 3 and 5 pages in length, not including the title page or the reference page. You don't need an abstract. You're going to do the student style that's in that seventh edition of the APA manual, and I don't believe that it requires an abstract, especially for a paper this short. You really don't need that. But everything else, you should follow the style guidelines and incorporate concepts from the textbook. Outside sources, should you choose to use them, you can include those if they strengthen your analysis, and you need to cite those in your references as well. The assignment is due July 20th by 11:59 p.m. And my advice is really simple, just start early. I think students a lot of times just underestimate how much time it takes to be thoughtful in your reflection and your writing. It just requires time and intention. So start early. I do have an AI policy in the syllabus, and essentially it's AI can't write your paper for you. AI cannot do the work for you. You're allowed to use it. A lot of times students like to use it for, grammar and spelling and punctuation, things like that. That's acceptable. You can do it to help you brainstorm or outline your paper, kind of get your thoughts organized, but it cannot write your paper for you, and we can tell. And so, if you use AI, just disclose. Put a disclosure somewhere in your paper at the end, at the beginning. It doesn't matter to me. Just disclose what did you do? How did you use AI? For me, I think AI is here. The more we push against it, the more sneaky I think students feel about it, and it just doesn't. I think we need to use the tools that we have, and so this is I think a good balance of how you're doing your own work. Which is going to facilitate your learning and understanding, but you're also able to use the tools that we realistically have now. So, if you've got any questions about that, let me know. All right, on to discussion posts. So the discussion boards are really an important component for this course. For each discussion, you will submit an original post and then respond to at least one classmate, except for that last discussion, number 5, because we're at the end and no response is required as long as the question is, what are your takeaways from this course? So that's as long as you answer that by the 24th. That's the only one that doesn't require a response. But everything else, and I would do this week by week. All of the posts are due on Monday, and all of the responses are due by the following Friday, and this starts on June 29th, so it's pretty quick. It's due. We're going to start discussions the same day that that syllabus quiz is due, so you want to go ahead and get started with your work. Don't put it off. Everything that's late along the way is going to be 10 points deducted for each day late. And once we get to the end of the course, And I think that is the 24th. That's what I have put down for everything. Let me double check that. Yes. The 24th, that's our finish line. So I can't take anything after that because I've got to get your grades in. It's a tight turnaround. Okay. So, anything else I want to say about these discussion posts? Yeah, it's just, it really is, it's the intent is to encourage engagement with course material and create opportunities just for y'all to learn from one another. I think some of the best insights are, in online courses come from hearing how classmates interpret and apply these concepts differently. So I encourage you to contribute thoughtfully and, of course, always be respectful to one another. I think if you want to be in a counseling program, you've probably got some good sense. So common sense, uh, online etiquette, right? Okay. Final exam. The final exam is comprehensive. It's going to cover chapters 1 through 13. You will only have one attempt and 3 hours to complete this exam. And the chapter quizzes are intentionally designed to prepare you for the format and the content of the final exam. So if you're working through those quizzes intentionally, reading those chapters and then taking the quizzes, reviewing those those PowerPoint outlines, it should be easy peasy on the final exam. Um, so the key is just consistency. So students who stay engaged throughout the course rarely are going to find the final exam overwhelming. So just stay engaged, don't procrastinate. Okay. Due date summary. So this is going to highlight the most important deadlines. Please pay close attention to the discussion schedule and the Benjamin Button reflection deadline, and the July 24th deadline for quizzes and the final exam. So July 24th, like I said, it's our finish line. All quizzes and final exam and discussion 5 must be completed by that date. So because grades, I've got to get them in immediately afterwards, I cannot accept late work beyond that point. And so I just have to reiterate that point. So just please plan accordingly. I know it's summer. I know there's a lot more fun things to be doing than being inside on a computer, but we got to get it done. Okay. So some tips for success. So just read the chat. Like I just can't emphasize this enough, I guess. Read the chapters, review the slides before you take the quiz. Don't wait till July 24th to complete everything that's due. Start Benjamin Button early. Go ahead and watch it and start, take notes as you're watching it. Um, Post discussion responses before the last minute, right? Um, and then check Blackboard announcements and email regularly. I'm going to be emailing you directly from Blackboard anything about this class. So all of that's going to go directly to your go.olemiss.edu email. And since some of you might be new students, so just get familiar with checking that, and check your junk just in case. There's like focused and other, and I always find myself like missing stuff in my other box. So check that too, because I have to remind myself too. So we're all in this together. All right. So, one final thought, the purpose of this course is not just to memorize developmental theories, it's to help you understand people. So every client you encounter will have a developmental story, their relationships, challenges, strengths, beliefs, behaviors, all of that. It's been shaped by their experiences across their lifespan and some stuff that they don't even remember probably. So the better we understand development, the better equipped we are to understand our clients, and support their growth. And I'm just so excited to work with you. I know it's going to be digitally asynchronous, but I'm excited. I'm here for you this semester, and I look forward to seeing your insights and your reflections throughout the course. And so, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this little course overview. And I wish you a successful semester. And please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And welcome to Counseling 601 Lifespan. All right.